me, he looks proper low. Big boy flying low.
So, we are as usual in the mighty T6, and I've simply got a ditch mower on, and we're flailing off all of the leaf, all the stem of what's left of the gladioli. So, these fields over at East Winch are for bulb production. So these are planted to strengthen the bulb, mature the bulb. So, I've already headed these ones, so the flowers were cut off. I'm trying to think when that is. Editing Lewis, sort that out. Well, just heard the good news that they've got one more trailer of tulips and that's it, so I'm not needed. Which is good, because I was up this way anyway on the marvellous tulip header. So we're lifting tulips, so we can't use it for tulips, so we're using it on gladies. Have a look here. But now we're looking to lift the bulbs in about a week's time. So I've spent the afternoon down here. It's now 3 o'clock. You know, I've had a good couple of hours down here just on this. The plan is that we're going to flail off leaf and stem, so it's down to the floor and stubble, a week before lifting, in the hopes that the roots start, I don't know, the roots sort of die off or they sort of grow back. I'm not really sure, but basically the bulb starts to go dormant, which means it doesn't take up the nutrients through the roots, which means basically the roots are dying off. The hope is we have less soil to contend with than we did in the last 2 years, because soil has been the problem. Well, not soil, roots have been the problem. You get the roots back in the yard, still covered in soil. You can get the soil off of the roots through the cleaners, but it takes a lot of work. And then you still got the root when they're in the box, even after going through de-skinners and stuff. You know, it was quite tedious. And of course, the more rubbish that you have to cart back to the yard to then grade out is less productive. So you've got, basically you're just pulling about rubbish that you don't want. You just want as much bulb in there in that trailer as possible, and soil for a bit of cushioning. That'd be the ideal. But we can't always get it like that. So this is what we're trying to just send the bulb into a bit of a hibernation, so the roots will just die back and hopefully they'll lift better. But we've now reached the middle of the field and we've got a lot of that. You'll have seen in the time lapse a lot of that in the middle, pretty much unplanted. That's because when it was planted, this field had a horrible wet patch in it, which I'm currently going through, and you can see it's still a wet hole really. That's just where I've been today. This hasn't been ran over at all since planting, so just me doing this today has not done that a lot of favour. So if you can't run the planter through it, there's no point. Put the mower back down, set the adjustment. If you've got a wet hole, don't plant anything in it, because it's just going to go to rot and snot. There's no point. We've got tulip planting which is going on now, as you know. And there are some patches of fields which we have had to leave, particularly the iceberg, where it's just not viable to plant, because you'll just kill off bulbs, and then you're just wasting money, aren't you? You're better off skipping a bit of the field, put it in a bit of the field which you know isn't going to flood, and you know, you're actually going to keep your bulbs alive. You're going to keep them healthy. They're going to grow, which is what farmers about. We're here to grow stuff. There's no point chucking money at a wet hole, is there? Ridiculous. This is the small field of gladies for bulbs, and it's all one variety, lucky. So I've literally just flowered everything off, and in the other field I've already flowered off the headland because it's the same stock. So the hope is this is, you know, a couple of days worth, and then when we have a better idea of what we're going to do, particularly with weather can dictate lifting a little bit. You know, if it's too wet again, it's not viable to lift, can't do it. So we're just going to keep an eye on this sort of 1 week ahead theory. I think it's going to be a little bit flexible on exactly 1 week. You know, we're definitely going to try and get a couple of days ahead with the flail, and hopefully everything will die off. But now, job's done, as you can see from the field. So I'm now going to drop this off. I had a little bit of an inspect of the mower earlier, halfway through, and it did get a little bit hot, so I think we do need to check the belts before we carry on with this. We have got some spare in the workshop, so I think we'll keep them on hand. I can kind of smell the warmth now, but we have been going on a bit of a wet condition, so you kind of think that's a little bit to blame, but if we didn't go today, we weren't going to get this 1 week ahead theory, so we shall see. Let's get this dropped off. So, I was wrong. The belts went on the way out. It was actually the gearbox bearing. The output side bearing had just started to let go due to age, it turns out. Annoyingly, the gearbox oil was there, but Dad used it the next day, got 100 metres down, the bearing shot out the side. So here I am, taking the gearbox apart, and you'll sort of see halfway along, all the teeth are gone. There's no point putting a new bearing in this one, we've got no teeth. So, I'll have to keep you updated. Are we going to find a new gearbox, or are we going to have to get a whole new mower? Utter disaster. But what can you do? These things happen. It was an old bit of kit. Still a gut punch though, isn't it? So, thank you all very much for watching this short little video on topping for gladioli bulbs. So, we should be lifting in a week's time, so make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for a little bit of lifting action with our Grimmy. Fantastic bit of kit, and I'm looking forward to using it again. And this year, with my new trailer. That's going to look a real good sight. So, thank you again for watching. Make sure to follow us on other social medias, link in the description below. Thank you and goodbye.